Hey gang, I got an offer for you today from LinkedIn. As business-to-business marketers, your needs are unique. B2B buying cycles are long and your customers face incredibly complex decisions. Isn't it time you had a marketing platform built specifically for you? LinkedIn ads empower marketers with solutions for you and your customers. LinkedIn ads allow you to build the right relationships, drive results, and reach your customers in a respectful environment. On LinkedIn, you have direct access to build relationships with decision makers. Of the 875 million users on the network, 180 million are senior level executives. 10 million are C-level executives. You will also be able to drive results with targeting and measuring with their tools built specifically for B2B. And best of all, they work. Audiences exposed to brand messages on LinkedIn are 6 times more likely to convert. LinkedIn ads also rank number 1 for security, community, and ad experience as part of the Business Insider's Digital Trust Study. Make B2B marketing everything it can be and get a $100 credit. It's a $100 credit on your next campaign. Go to linkedin.com/MPN to claim your credit. It's linkedin.com/MPN. Terms and conditions apply.
When I first worked at Barnes & Noble, I was started at the Deerfield store, and there was a Borders across the street. And the joke was, Borders hired for book knowledge, Barnes & Noble hired for personality.
Entrepreneurs Enigma is a podcast for the ups and downs of entrepreneurship. So the wins and the fails that we all face being entrepreneurs, how we learn from adversity. Every week I talk to a different entrepreneur with a story to tell. I'm Seth Goldstein. Come with me on the journey. This is Entrepreneurs Enigma. Let's get started. Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Entrepreneurs Enigma podcast. By now, you know I'm Seth. It's over 100 episodes, so you should know who I am by now. I am here with the wonderful, happy, goal-setting, the DEB goals, Debra Eckerling of the DEB method of your goal guide, her book, and she is a go-getter. She is from the Annie Ruggles side of things. So she's a chatter, she's a kibitzer, she chats, and she's almost like, I would say, the less foul-mouthed version of Annie, I would say.
I think that's a really good assessment.
I think it's a good assessment because Annie curses like a trucker, and Deb is the person who gives the trucker a dirty side eye when they curse.
I would say a trucker can swear all they want as long as they're not on my show.
Exactly. No, that's fine. And I love every once in a while having a show that there's no explicit tag on it. So, because everyone, my thing is like, look, if it doesn't air in Saudi Arabia because there's an explicit tag, I'll survive. But like, people can drop the S-bomb, the F-bomb. I don't care. If it works, it works. I want the honest to goodness conversation. So, if you curse, you curse. Maybe we'll get the first curse out of Deb on air. Probably not.
Good luck with that.
So anyhow, Deb, you're out in California. You're down in Los Angeles, right?
Yes.
And but you're not originally from California, right? You're more of a Midwesterner or
Yes.
East Coaster?
I grew up in the Chicago suburbs, but I lived in LA I just had an LA-versary the end of December. So yeah, I've been here a while.
You've been here for a while. And you're an author. You are a goal-setting coach. You're an event goal setter person, for lack of better terms. So tell us a little bit about what you do. I mean, if I've kind of given people a high level, but like, how did you get into this whole goal setting mantra?
Well, that actually goes back to my Midwestern roots because I was doing events for Barnes & Noble in Schaumburg, Illinois. And whenever I needed to fill my calendar, I would just hang out in the cafe because it was a community bookstore. Yeah. I wanted events for the community. And one day, one of my regulars came in and said, will you start a writer support group? And I said, if you think people will show up, sure, let's give it a try. And not only was it a hit, but it showed me the power of goal setting and accountability. Mm-hmm. So for me, that meant, what did you do? What are you working on? And how can we support you? What are your goals for next time? So I was making other people set goals. So of course I was going to set them myself. And it really, there's the power to it. So fast forward, moved to LA, restarted the group here. It started as a writer support group and it's evolved It's been live, hybrid. Right now, it's through my Write On Online Facebook group, but it's for writers, creatives, and entrepreneurs. And somewhere along the line, someone said, Deb, you're good at this. Can I hire you to help me get my projects done?
It's amazing how the journey starts.
Right?
The entrepreneur journey starts differently for everyone. So you're working for B&N for a while, in-house, right?
I was in-house, but I left that job to work in publishing, but I kept my writer support group up until the time I moved to LA. And then I restarted it here at the Barnes & Noble in Santa Monica, which, by the way, isn't even there anymore.
But apparently Barnes & Noble's coming back. I've read an article, I think it was in the Financial Times or something. They said that Barnes & Noble is coming back. Like they're surviving and they're flourishing right now. So maybe they'll build more stores. I like B&N. I mean, I like the small mom and pop stores, but anything's better than Amazon.
Can I tell you, though, when I first worked at Barnes & Noble, I was started at the Deerfield store, and there was a Borders across the street. And the joke was Borders hired for book knowledge, Barnes & Noble hired for personality.
It's so true.
Right.
I remember Borders. And it was like they were like the nerds of the books.
We were book nerds, but we were book nerds with personalities and computers, so we could look anything up, right?
You were the book geeks. It was different.
Yeah, book nerd versus book geeks. Oh, that sounds like an article one of us should write, don't you think?
Yeah, there you go. So you were then working in publishing. You moved to LA, and did you still do publishing while you were in LA? That's what brought you to LA?
No, what brought me to LA is I spent the summer. I turned 10 in LA, and I always wanted to move back here, and moved back home after college. My mom sold her house. As long as I had to move, I'm going to LA. Hey, Mom, do you want to come? So she moved out here. Drove 2 cars cross country many moons ago. I know, it's a total off, right?
We're going to take a quick break, hear from our sponsors, and get right back to the show.
Hey, it's Jason with the Marketing Podcast Network. You have less than 1 month left to get special early bird pricing for the Creator Economy Expo 2023. This event, folks, is for content creators and entrepreneurs interested in building and growing their content-first businesses. Do not miss this show. Join over 500 bloggers, podcasters, authors, newsletter writers, speakers, consultants, and freelancers at the learning and networking event for content creators. Plan to attend May 1st through the 3rd in Cleveland, Ohio. Register now to secure early bird pricing before it disappears March 31st. Early bird pricing ends March 31st. As a special offer, you can get $100 off just for listening to MPN shows like this one. Go to cex.events to register. Use the coupon code MPN100. The address, the URL, cex.events. That's the whole thing. Type that into your browser. cex.events. The code you use, MPN100. The Creator Economy Expo, Cleveland, May 1st through the 3rd. See you there.
And she's also the one that gave you your company name, didn't she? Or the DEB method?
Yes. Well, okay. So just to rewind a bit, I was leading these groups, and then people were inviting me to speak, inviting me to coach them. Then in 2018, my main communication client was going away. So I decided this was a sign to dive into what I believe I was meant to do, which is help people figure out what they want and how to get it. And Mom said, you hate SMART goals. Why don't you create DEB goals? So she named me twice.
DEB goals. Good old Mom.
Good old Mom. And so this was spring 2018. I did the rebrand, and DEB stands for Determine Your Mission, Explore Your Options, Brainstorm Your Path, which are the fundamentals for creating the foundation for your goals.
And your name just so happens to be Debra. So it just so happened.
It worked out.
You can't make this stuff up.
Well, what I love is there's a woman who took my workshop a couple years before the rebrand, she was probably the first person to buy my book because she's a teacher, and they would do their pre-semester retreat, and everybody got to bring a book, and my book was coming out, I think, the Tuesday after the retreat. So she got a copy early. Yeah. Anyway, but she teaches her students because D is Determine Your Mission. So at the beginning of every semester, she has her students create a mission. So I love the fact that people who took my workshops before the rebrand, it's the same principles. It's just validation, you know?
It's absolutely.
Anyway, so rebranded as DEB. agent found me basically end of
Oh,
2000.
so it's not self-published. It's published.
Oh, it's published. Okay, so this is another story.
Nice. Yeah.
One of the women from my live group always had a goal to do more networking.
Yeah.
She was at an event, sat next to this agent. Turned out I had met him like 6 or 7 years before at an event in the Valley. And anybody who knows LA, you've got West Side people, which I am. Stuff goes on in the Valley, and sometimes never the twain shall meet. But I met him at an event several years ago, and we're talking. We figured out because we were like, your name's familiar. Your name's familiar too. Anyway, he asked me, what is my goal? And I said to be
What's
the first
your goal? No pun intended.
Oh, pun totally intended.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And at the time, and it's pretty much the same, to be the first person people think of when they hear the word goal.
Love it.
And he said, well, if that is your goal, let's try and go mainstream, send me your book proposal. So I did. And 2018, my publisher showed interest. So my book comes out January 2020. So 6 weeks before the world got changed by circumstance.
Kaboom. Yeah.
Out comes my book to help people embrace change by choice or by circumstance.
Oh my God. It's
Right?
almost as good as your method being named after you, but not directly named after you, but named after. What the heck? Yeah, what's up with this? It's awesome. It's awesome. And not awesome that we went through a pandemic, but circumstances kind of worked out.
Well, we went through a pandemic. However, you can imagine I spent 2 years telling people this cosmic pause is the perfect opportunity to rethink your life, reassess your goals, and figure out what's next for you.
You took the bull by the horns and you ran with it.
Yes.
So-
Everybody deserves to live the life that they want. But the first step is making that choice to say,
Yes.
okay, I need to change something.
It's so true.
Or sometimes, as we know, change is thrust upon you.
Yeah.
And then what do? You can run,
You
hide,
set your DEB goals.
or you could set your DEB goals, which is obviously my
Amen.
preference.
So what's the best thing about being an entrepreneur?
I get to be me 24/7.
That's awesome.
I do coaching, but the thing that I love even more than coaching is leading workshops.
Mhm.
So if you go to preeventplanning.com, I always have my latest workshops, but I also go into companies and lead goal workshops for them. I do, before events, I do pep talks. So they're pre-event planning talks, basically DEB goal talks to help people set goals to get the most out of conferences and summits, because there's so much information and so many people. And the thing that I love about DEB, wow, let me ego for a second. It works with anything.
Yeah.
It really does. So whereas original recipe DEB is, okay, what's the next for your life?
Recipe DEB, yeah. I love it.
But, you want to write a book, set DEB goals. Rather than the mission be on you, what is the mission behind your book? Determine the mission, explore the options, brainstorm your path. Or if you're going to an event. So let's say you do DEB goals for your business, right?
Yeah.
What is the mission? Who are you? What makes you unique? How do you help? So your business goals are all about helping others. But when you go to an event, it's all about helping you so you can build your business and help others. So
I love it. So you have a go bag, pretty much. Like you have a go bag and you will travel.
I will virtually travel.
You don't go in person. I guess because you haven't really had a chance because the book came out, pandemic happened. Kind of works out that way.
Well, okay, so this is what happened. So my book comes out January 2020. I do a little book tour around LA, did a couple conferences, and I remember the last conference I was at was the weekend before everything shut down.
My
I
God.
was doing the California Creative Writers Conference. And then
You snuck one in, yeah.
It was at the time where everybody wasn't quite sure what was going on.
I remember that, yeah.
And then I pretty much seamlessly went from live to virtual, because within a week, I was getting emails, hey, Deb, you want to go cheerlead? You want to do a goal session for the chamber? Do you want to do this thing? And I'm like, yes. So I basically jumped right into virtual. That's awesome. Even though, yes, things are open, I live in LA, so LA is still, LA is open, but I'm always err on the side of caution,
Yeah, but
right?
honestly, why you don't need to? You can go to Dubai virtually and do a talk.
Exactly my point.
Yeah.
And especially the workshops I do with companies, it could be from wherever in
Yeah.
associations. And for pre-event planning, I go into companies to prep teams,
Yeah.
but also I speak before events start. So I'm like kickoff or a few days
Oh,
before
that's
and
neat.
really
Yeah.
like rallying the troops. And that you need to do virtual to
Yeah.
whether the event's virtual or in person, because the best time to have me come in is a few days before. So people can get their schedules planned and
Yeah.
get their digital persona.
Oh, so Deb on the Jumbotron.
Oh, Deb on the Jumbotron. I like that idea. I remember, and this is a workshop I did pre-pandemic. I have a picture. I was leading a workshop for LA Review of Books USC Writers Conference,
Yeah.
and they had Deb on the Jumbotron, and they took a picture of me
Oh,
talking
wow.
to a group of
Oh, that's
students. It was
wild.
hilarious.
That's great. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I've been doing virtual before. Virtual was cool, as have you been.
Yeah.
And the thing that I love so much about virtual is really you can be anywhere, you could do anything, but really the power of meeting people everywhere. I mean, LA
Yeah.
is a big city,
Yeah,
but
but
I'm
I'm
not.
in Philadelphia, and we met up through. I mean, Annie introduced us, but then I came on your show, and it was like, all right, I'm in Philly, you're in LA, literally both coasts, not a big deal.
Well, exactly. And so my show, my Gold Chat Live, which is
Yeah,
also the DEB Show
every Monday, right?
podcast, every Monday at 4 p.m. And then the podcast eps come out
Pacific,
on Thursday. Yes,
4 p.m.
Pacific.
Pacific, because I always have to remember that it's like, what is that? 7 p.m. my time, Eastern.
Yes,
Yeah.
7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m.
Yes.
Pacific every Monday. But that was a project that came out of the pandemic because I was leading a Twitter chat at the time, Sunday night.
Yeah.
And then
Remember
Monday,
Twitter?
remember Twitter?
Oh, no.
It's the other day I did a live stream for, this is a group, it's called Unlocking the Middle, and it's a group of
wow.
middle school educators.
Oh, perfect.
And this is somebody I met through my Twitter chat. And
Mhm.
we scheduled this before Twitter kind of went
Went the
kerplooey, at
way
least
they
in my
went,
mind.
yeah.
Yeah. But it's so it live streamed on Twitter, but also the other places. I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not just on Twitter, right? But this is somebody I met through my Twitter chat.
Yeah.
It's so I miss Twitter. And I know a lot of people are still on Twitter. I chose to
Yeah, go to
chose to
Mastodon.
move.
Go to Mastodon.
And actually, I moved my Twitter chat to LinkedIn.
It works?
I'm getting there.
Working. It's getting there. Hey, it's half the battle, right?
Well, this is what I figure. I don't want to be the last person off the Titanic, right?
Yeah.
And I spent so long building this community. I had this live chat for almost 5 years. So what I
Wow.
do is
Yeah.
Sunday nights, I put the questions in the LinkedIn group, connect. Has it caught on yet? Not quite, but I do have people
It's
participating.
catching on, which is nice. So that's good.
Well, we need other places to be,
Yeah, you
right?
can't just be dependent on one platform, exactly. So here's a
Right.
question for you. What keeps you up at night as an entrepreneur? Or not much? You can say not much. You can say you sleep very well like a baby you know.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to cheat. What keeps
Okay,
me
cheat.
up is I always want to do more,
Yes, that's a good answer. Me too.
right? And even today, so today I woke up 5 Pacific, not on purpose,
Wow.
but it was raining.
Ugh,
And
well,
a
hey,
lot of
that's good
people
for the
find,
Pacific.
oh,
That's great
well,
for
a lot of people
LA.
find raining soothing, and
Not
it
for
is
LA.
until it isn't for me, whatever. So, but wait, it's still way too early. So what do? I work on one of my creative projects in my head.
Good.
So it's not something deadline driven. It's something fun.
It's the only thing you can do at 5 o'clock in the morning.
I
read a book. I woke up at 5:30 this morning. I read a book for 2 hours.
So you totally get it.
Oh, I get it. If I manage to get up at 5:30, which I try and do, to beat the kid out of bed, like he'll go on the computer for a little while, and I'll go downstairs, and my wife's still snoring away, and the dog is still snoring away. It's my quiet time. But a lot of times I don't make it. A lot of times I get up at 7, and all hell breaks loose.
But it's important to have that quiet time. So the answer to the question is,
Yeah.
sometimes I want to do more.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to meet more people. I want to learn more things. I want to grow my community. I want to
Yeah.
get to that place where people think about me when they hear the word goal. Doesn't happen overnight. Doesn't happen over 5 years. It's the constant work.
Gradual.
And I've been doing goals for more than 20. Yeah, I think I just admitted something. I've been doing goals.
We'll gloss over that. We'll keep moving.
I've been doing goals since the 90s, basically, but really full-hearted
nothing wrong with that.
focusing the last 5-10 years. But especially now, where you can accomplish anything without leaving your house. There is no excuse not to, even if it's something little that you're incorporating into your life, like you've always wanted to write a book. Fine. Do it an hour at a time, a week at a time. 15 minutes at a time, a week at a time. Find something. Let's say you can't change your job.
Yeah.
Find something that's going to bring you joy that you could do in tandem with your job. Or this is Entrepreneur's Enigma. So for people
the side hustle of your hustle. Yeah.
The side hustle of your hustle.
Hustle. Yeah.
Find the things that bring you joy. Do more of those and let that energy leak into the things that are
more mundane.
Exactly.
There you go.
What keeps you up at night, Seth?
What keeps me up at night? Not much. I'm exhausted at that point. But no, don't worry about the business and stuff like that, and everyone has these worries of like, all right, got these bills coming in, got to get the business, these jobs done and whatnot. But, here's a question for you. What is the most important thing to carry with you all the time?
Your purpose.
Love it. Oh, I think that's by far the best answer to that question ever.
Really?
How so?
Yeah, do I get myself a gold star? I'll give it to me.
A gold star. Give yourself a gold star. There you go. Absolutely.
Well, so I'll go back to the D&DEB method, is determine your mission. When you've got that mission, that intent, that purpose behind everything that you do, that is your fuel. It's also your decision tree.
It is.
When
the decision tree.
It is. When opportunities come your way, is this in alignment with my mission? Yes. Great. Do it. Is this in alignment with your mission? No. Okay. Will it benefit you in another way? Yeah. Yes. Then yes. No. Then you really need to assess what the heck you might be getting into.
That's so true. I love it. Purpose. I love it.
So when you've got that, when you've got the purpose, when you've got that drive, yes, you're going to get hit by, rain and
it'll keep you up at night, but in a good way,
But when you know, it brings, I sound like a Californian. It's the energy.
It's the energy. Hey, you've been out in California for a while, so you can do that. Chicago's pretty, well, it's not really bright. Well, it's bright and sunny, but it's usually cold and snowy.
Yes, it is indeed. And whenever I complain about the weather here, and people look at me sideways, I go, I did my time.
You did your time.
I can complain
you did your
about
time more than the East Coast. I mean, Chicago, you got the lake effect. It's like, oh my God, the Buffalo. I mean, not as bad as Buffalo this year, but it's bad. Yeah, unless you love snow, and then you're in the right place. So,
since I've been here, I have met people who would go to college on the East Coast and last a semester and come back. Not an urban myth. People actually do that, apparently.
They try, because, the East Coast, it gets cold.
It's hard.
I might be on the same parallel as, I'm in Philly, so I'm on the same parallel as San Francisco. San Francisco is 50s when we're in the single digits. Same parallel, different ocean. That's why I blame it on the oceans. I think Pacific's a lot warmer. Until you get to Alaska, then nothing's warm up there. So there's that. So Deb, where can people find you online? Where's your main haunt?
Well, thedebmethod.com.
There you go.
And I am at the Deb Method everywhere. And if you are listening to this, find me on LinkedIn, drop a note that we met through Seth, and connect with me, because you can't reach your goals on your own. You need your people. So let's be each other's people.
You need your Deb.
I think so.
I think so too. Absolutely. And get her book on Amazon. We'll have the link in the show notes, and all fine retailers. So if you can, go to a small bookstore or go to Barnes & Noble and pick it up too. I'm sure it's there.
Yes, it is available at your favorite place to buy books.
Love it. Love it. Deb, thanks so much for being on. This has been so much fun.
It's been fun for me too. Thank you so much, Seth.
Great. And we'll see everyone next week. That was a great show. Hey, if you're enjoying Entrepreneurs Enigma, please give us a review on the podcast directory of your choice. We're on all of them. And these reviews really help others find the show. Also, if you're getting value from the show and want to buy me a coffee, go to the show notes and click on the link to help me stay awake while I bring you more great episodes to your ears. That's in the show notes, and I look forward to the next episode. Take care, guys. Goldstein Media hopes you have enjoyed this episode. This podcast is one of the many great shows on the MPN Marketing Podcast Network.
You may know you're listening to this show along the Marketing Podcast Network, but did you know there are other great shows on MPN to help your business? Joe Singer and Tom Stallings host a great podcast called Take a Breath. Joe, tell us what you talk about on the show.
Yeah, so Take a Breath is a podcast for people who are really trying to build something valuable in their lives, whether it's a business or a marriage or whatever it is you're trying to do. We help you with some hacks to build your best life.
Wow. Where can people subscribe?
You could find us on marketingpodcasts.net as well as mergeanalytics.com. And you can also find us on LinkedIn and YouTube.
And wherever you get your podcasts. So go subscribe. This podcast is heard along the Marketing Podcast Network. For more great marketing podcasts, visit marketingpodcasts.net.